you can read that the capability was there even then.
70s.
Yeah, 70s. So, so what a lot of these victims say to me, including those, oh, by the way, the head doctor of a 3-letter agency, I promised that I wouldn't release his name, but he was the former head doctor of the CIA. He called me, and he said, Mr. Beltran, you are exactly right. There's significant overlap between the 338 Havana syndrome patients that I'm treating and your clients, meaning that the symptoms were exactly the same. He said the only difference is you have cases where you've surgically removed biosensors. Tell me more. So my point is this: we are in a new paradigm shift. There is an article which I know your followers are going to want to read, and it was put out by Scientific Neurology, and I believe it's in the NI. I'll give you the whole link.
Okay.
This is it. There's G. Relay, PhD. He remained very neutral. But if you want to know everything about where we're at and our capabilities today, everyone should read this.
Microwave radio frequencies, 5G, 6G, graphene nanomaterials, technologies used in neurological warfare. Okay, so back in 2020, when they said, the quacks said, do not get the shot because it has something to do with the 5G, and the 5G is all about becoming the Internet of Things.
Remember, he said in the trailer, that is a whistleblower.
Mm-hmm.
You are now a node. You are part of the Internet of Things. That's what he's referring to.
Okay, so allegedly, for the YouTube guys, allegedly, they want those 5G, 7G, 10G just to make sure it has no latency. And when they push the button, I feel it right away. Correct. Without the latency.
Correct.
Everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world.
Okay, so why do I still have a shitty signal in the US?
I don't know. They have this climate reef, but we're transitioning to 6G. China just went to 6G. You have greater penetration, and but you know it's being marketed as this is great for us, right? But is it? I just did an interview and we did some filming down in Palm Beach with the epidemiologist and toxicologist, and she point blank says this is very dangerous for all of us. Imagine your children, your brain, the human brain, their brains aren't even developing, and you've got kids already with the cell phone section. Imagine a school bus of all these kids having these cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
It's exponentially affecting their brains. And she talks about the predispositions that they will have, why they have ADHD, why they have propensities to commit crimes, why their common sense isn't common anymore. I mean, these are all things that affect that.
Okay, so we live in an apartment complex, 600 to 700 apartments in the complex. So in my apartment, I can scan and I can log into, let's say, a minimum a dozen Wi-Fis.
More than that.
More than that, dozens.
Yeah, hundreds.
So even if I go, let's say, Lake Tahoe, Big Bear Lake, I still get the signal.
Mm-hmm.
You can't escape that.
No.
Maybe in the Death Valley?
There's a city here in the United States, and I have to look where it's at. They call it a Wi-Fi free zone. No electronics, no nothing. But I guarantee you, if I take my equipment there, I'll detect signals.
It's gonna speak.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the worst outcomes that you've seen from people saying they saw what?
Okay, so there are two cases I can talk about. One of them is the Aaron Alexis case back in the early 2000s, late 2000, it was right after 2010. He contacted me. He says, hey, I hear you can help me. He was a U.S. soldier. He was having these exact same symptoms, including the signals being transmitted to his head. And I said, yeah, I can help you, but this isn't a quick fix. It's going to be, it's going to take a long time. The Bonnie Kellerby case took 8 years of gathering evidence before they finally surgically removed something out of her. And he said, I thought he was going to go along with the program. The very next week, he went and killed 12 people at the Navy Yard. And in the butt of his gun, he inscribed ELF, extremely low frequency. He thought that that's where the signal was coming from.
What
Aaron
was his name?
Alexis. Aaron Alexis.
Alexis
Aaron
killed,
Alexis.
killed 12 people.
Navy Yard.
Yes, Aaron Alexis was responsible for killing 12 people. The attack happened during the Washington Navy Yard shooting on September 16, 2013 in Washington, D.C. Alexis was a civilian contractor working at the naval facility. He used a shotgun during the attack. Police shot and killed him during the response. Several others were injured. So prior to him killing a dozen of people,
He called me the week
he
before.
called
He called me for help. I had no idea he was going to do that. And I live with that guilt every day.
Did he tell you? What did he see
He
or
didn't.
hear?
He just says they experience, even the federal employees who say they can't get away from the signal. They say they have this strange auditory sound, but what they won't say, because they don't want to be stigmatized or lose their pensions, is that they're hearing voices being transmitted to them.
Telling to do something.
Correct.
Go and...
Yes. Yes. Another case who called me is a Myron May case. Myron May was an African-American attorney out of Florida. Look it up. And he did the same thing. He called me, said, I heard you can help me. And I said, exact same thing I told Aaron Alexis. Yeah, we can gather data if this phenomena is happening to you, to give you evidence, but it's not quick fix. And he goes, I ain't got time for that. I got bigger fish to fry. I thought he was talking about doing a lawsuit against someone. And
that's a quote, bigger fish to fry.
That's what he said to me. And then very shortly after that, he went and killed people in the research department at the University of Florida.
Yes, Myron May was an attorney from Florida who carried out the shooting at Florida State University in November 2014. He wasn't sentenced to prison. He was killed by police at the scene after the attack. May was a 31-year-old lawyer and graduate of Florida State University and later worked as a prosecutor. In the early hours of November 20, 2014, he brought a shotgun into the Sturzier Library of the FSU campus in Tallahassee, Florida, and opened fire. He wounded 3 people during the shooting before exiting the building and refusing police officer orders to drop his weapon. Law enforcement stopped and killed him outside the library after he was fired. Reports and later investigations indicated May had been struggling with mental health issues, including parent. Okay, so every school shooting is this?
I can't say that. All I can say is that was my interaction with these 2 gentlemen when they went to do what they did. And remember the Bonnie Kellerby case, they diagnosed her with schizophrenia. They said she was delusional. And she wasn't. It was induced. And this is my point. This Havana syndrome is real. Colonel Egrin is testifying it. They keep changing the name. Back then in 2010, it was called electronic terrorism. Then it became Havana syndrome. Now it's very subtle. They call it anomalous health incidences. So what is the implications to society about this? Do you know if you have this nanotech in you, you're no longer considered human? You're now considered Homo borgigenesis is a new terminology. And I ask everyone, what happens to human rights if you are no longer the human species? And if I were to ask you, is this legal? What would you say?
Of course not.
It's legal.
To do what exactly?
To experiment on U.S. citizens without their consent.
How come?
In 2016, the 21st Century Cures Act was enacted, and it was marketed to the U.S. citizens
21st
Century Cures Act. It was marketed to U.S. citizens as a way to fight the opioid epidemic crisis. But hidden in there is a section called 3024. And under Section 3024, it is legal to experiment on U.S. citizens without their consent as long as it does not exceed minimal risk criteria. Okay? So then the common sense question is, what is minimal risk criteria? The definition is nothing that doesn't happen in normal everyday life. And I'll pose this statement: does death happen in normal everyday life? So that data that is collected under these IRBs, under research, is protected under national security protocols. So even if you did a FOIA request to see if you're on an IRB, you're not going to get it because it's protected. In 2024, prior to the transition to this new administration, they extended to include private entities, corporations, military subcontractors, and teaching universities who are doing research for the U.S. government to extend those same security protocols to them. So now you have the fox guarding the hen house. So even if you did a FOIA request, you're going to get stonewalled. And that's where we're at today.
Okay, the 21st Century Cures Act is a U.S. law passed in 2016. It's also controversial. Signed into law by Barack Obama in December 2016. Gave $6+ billion to medical research, NIH cancer brain research, aimed to accelerate drug and device approvals by the FDA. Why people criticize it? Allows faster approvals with less traditional clinical trial evidence. In 4 years, they did that with the Operation Warp Speed, right? Mm-hmm. Expands use of real-world evidence instead of long randomized trials. Critics say it weakens safety standards. Okay, Section 3024, in plain terms, it expanded federal support for mental health crisis response, especially early intervention, encourages states and local authorities to identify and treat people experiencing severe mental distress before violence. Okay, strengthened coordinate between mental health services, hospitals, law enforcement, emphasize court-ordered or involuntary treatment. Why it's controversial?
Yeah, so that is not the full disclosure of Section 3024. It's much larger than that. And in Section 3024, if you do pull it up under the .gov, you will see that it does say that. It does say that it is legal to experiment on U.S. citizens without their consent.
U.S. citizen or everybody on the
No,
US?
it says U.S. citizens without their consent.
So if I'm not the citizen, I'm not being...
I can't say that. All I can say is what the section says.
Okay.
The section only says